for the characters, for the dynamics. They get thrown in with this guy that actually has some sort of moral compass. Sterling, who's a douchebag, who we hate, absolutely insane. So the hat's back, but then it wasn't actually a thing. Hi guys, welcome back to another Rants video. It's Friday and my hair is up and that's all I care about. Anyway, I finished Leverage. I finally finished Leverage. Before anyone asks, I've not watched Leverage Redemption. It is on the list of things, so I will eventually get there. But I have been making my husband watch Leverage with me, and I think he is done with it for a while. So it might take me a little bit to get there. I also decided to educate myself on Bluey because it is the children's obsession at work. So I wanted to at least know characters' names. I'm enjoying it way too much. Like, my little daycare teacher heart is so happy when I watch Bluey. It's So anyway, it might take me a little bit to watch Leverage Redemption, but I did finish the original series and I love it. In case that wasn't clear when I did the live stream and mentioned that I was almost done with it, I am invested. I love it. It's so fun. I don't know. It's made by Dean Devlin. Well, not made. Produced, whatever he does in the show. Anyway, it's Dean Devlin is involved, and he was also involved, executive producer or whatever he did, and he was also the executive producer or whatever for The Librarians, which I also absolutely love. For the characters, for the dynamics, for all of that. I love Librarians. And so this had a very similar vibe to The Librarians, except it was a heist show. So just a whole nother flavor of Librarians. We had basically the team pulling Robin Hood and stealing from the rich, or exposing the rich for all of their scandals and their scams and all of that, so that to benefit the little man, I guess. And so that was just a fun plot line, and just bounce around from one adventure to another, from one bad guy to the next, and I had so much fun. I love the character dynamics. I love how Dean Devlin and the team and whatever else do the found family aspect of it, because I'm a sucker for found family. It's a wonderful trope, and he does it so well. And so having all of these criminals forced together with this washed up, drunken, alcoholic, kind of detective man. He's called an insurance agent or whatever, and he would investigate insurance claims and whatever else, but I don't think that in universe that's his job. In reality, I don't think that's what his job title would actually do. But anyway, they get thrown in with this guy that actually has some sort of moral compass that he still follows, and he convinces them to go on some missions, and they start to see the benefits that it has and how it affects people in such a positive way, and they get convinced to continue doing this. And so they're a begrudging team, and it just develops and grows until they become very much a family, and it's so good. And I have only watched 2 of the shows, so I can't say always, but from my experience with Dean Devlin shows, we always have the mom and dad character and then the 3 children. That seems to be the trend. And so we do it again. We have Hardison, Parker, and Elliot are basically the children of the team, and then Sophie and Nate are the parents, essentially. In Librarians, he straight up calls the others on the team the kids. They don't go that far in this, but it is very implied, especially with Parker being, I believe, the youngest, followed closely by Hardison, and then Elliot is a bit, I would say a few years older than them. I didn't look up their actual ages. I don't know the ages of the character. But anyway, yeah, we have big brother Elliot, middle child Hardison, who believes he's constantly being underappreciated and is constantly being picked on, and it's fun. And it is, yes, middle child. And then we have Parker, who is the crazy youngest sibling, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun. And I enjoy other characters, especially Elliot. I feel like Elliot is given a lot of character development, and we dive the most into his past. Because like Nate, we get like the overarching, hey, this is what I did, this is why I stopped, and we have the recurring motivation of his son's death, as well as we get background with his dad, but we don't get too deep into it. We just kind of get the general information. Sophie, we don't really get any background. We get all hints and whatever else to it, but not a whole lot. Hardison, again, we get a few random flashbacks, but not too much. And Parker, we get a few random flashbacks, but not that much. And then Elliot, we get the flashbacks that we get with the other characters. We get a lot of him sort of telling some stuff, being very vague, but telling some stuff, and kind of implying that he has done horrible things that he doesn't want to acknowledge, that they don't want to know about, because it's just bad. And we get the connection between him and Moreau, and all of these different things that, like, we get these moments and these connections to his past that show up through people throughout the series, and we don't get that with a lot of the other characters. I think the only ones that really get a like backstory character connection are Parker gets one, and it's like her mentor slash adoptive dad-ish character, and then with Nate and Sterling, who's a douchebag, who we hate. And then we get to the end of the series and slightly less hateable, still hateable, slightly less so, because he's helpful. And he's less of a douche. Anyway, yeah, it's just a really fun series and I enjoy it a lot. It's not one of those where it's super deep and I have a whole lot of stuff to get into about it. It's very much character driven for me, and then it's just fun missions that we get to go along with them on, and so it's not super thought-provoking. It doesn't go into super deep topics. It's not one of those shows. It's a feel-good show. That's what it is. It is a feel-good show. For me, at least. And it's just a lot of fun to watch. I would say Elliot's probably favorite character just because of how much we get into his character as opposed to the others. They don't get as much depth compared to him, and so he kind of takes the cake a little bit with favorite character. Parker is probably a close second. Because I love that she just goes through absolutely insane, and throughout the series figures out how to work with people, how to be socially not incompetent, and gets a lot of lessons in both the job and life from Nate and Sophie and Elliot. And I will say that the relationship with her and Hardison is kind of cute. It was definitely, I called it from the beginning, and very expected. So whatever. And I'm not a huge shipper anyway, so I never cared too much about any of that. But anyway, it had its cute moments. It did have its cute moments, and they developed it pretty well. I think they made it slow burn enough that you were able to get behind their characters individually, and then you could kind of develop an opinion on their relationship. So I think the speed of the development was good for that. because it wasn't until like season 3 that I think they officially got together, and that was like the end of season, no. Or was it season 4? One of them. It was like they got to a season premiere, and they had like a time skip. They've been separated for a little bit. They come back and they're like, hey, this is new. We're together, whatever. And that might have been season 5 actually. So they were like unofficially together in season 4. And then I think season 5 they were officially a thing. But anyway, they had a bit of a slow burn going. Yeah. Artist and Sophie, I think, are probably on the same level. Nate is probably pretty close, but he might be slightly higher. Well, maybe. I'm not sure where the last 3 kind of land. Like, I enjoy all their characters, but I just enjoy Parker more, and then Elliot even more. I don't know. Maybe I just find those 2 characters a little bit more compelling than the rest of them because of how they're portrayed. I don't know. But I don't know what the last 3 are. Anyway, I also, one drawback to Parker's character. So we start in first season. She's very practical. She has like this hairnet, leather beret hairnet, whatever you want to call her hat. But the hat she wears over her hair when she's doing a heist and like is going around, and like her hair would hang down and get in the way and all that. Super practical. Loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, they're not going the route where it's like she has to be pretty while she's doing a heist. And then by season 3, like it was less of a thing in season 2, and then by season 3, like wasn't a thing at all. And I was like, what are you doing? She was so practical. And then they brought it back in the finale of season 5 for a theoretical situation. And it was like, I was like, oh my gosh, the hat's back, but then it wasn't actually a thing. Why? Why is this no longer a thing? I don't care if she looks pretty while she's doing her heist and going through the laser grid and whatever else. Like, her hair would not be, her hair just being down and out and free in the oven would not be practical. But anyway, that's not the point. That is my only complaint, I think, with Parker's character, was that we lost the hat by season 3. Which, it was just unfortunate. It was such a loss. Because it was practical. And they're never practical with the women. But anyway, that was the only complaint with her character. I love they give them just like random quirks. Like they give them the weird random quirks that you don't get an explanation for. They just exist. Like Hardison and his orange soda and his Van Lucille. I think he had the most quirks. And Sophie's whole thing, like she can act when she's on a con, but as soon as she's not on a con, she can't act. That was such a fun duality to go through, and it was just this random quirk that we didn't really get an explanation for. It just existed, and it kind of added to the character. Or Elliot can just identify things based on the most random things. Like he identifies Navy SEALs based on their boots or the way they stand, or a FBI satellite based on the static that's happening. And it's just totally random, and it kind of gives a little bit of background to his character without actually giving away the whole background and info dumping his backstory. So it's really fun. And I like how they did that with all the different quirks and all of that. It was very fun. We had, I forget the Gotham character name. Butch from Gotham. His actor showed up as a basically just a misled bad guy. Like, he was so naive, and I didn't like, he had a bit of a drug problem, didn't really realize or then care that it was that what he was doing was a problem, and so they just put him in rehab and he becomes a better person. It's wonderful. And then he comes back later to, being naive as ever, gets himself into a horrible situation with drug dealers and all of that completely by accident. It's just, he was a fun character. I enjoyed his character, and he showed up and I was like, I know who that actor is. Not by name, but I know who that actor is. It's fun when I can recognize very random, kind of obscure actors. It's really fun when I see them show up in something, because I'm like, yes, you. Nobody really knows who you are, but you're good. It's really fun. I like acknowledging those actors because they don't get acknowledged much anywhere else. Like the only TV show actors, like several of the Once Upon a Time cast, the Gotham cast, the Librarians cast. Like the only movies I've seen Flynn Carson's actor in, Noah Wylie, are the Librarian movies. And then he's in the show, and then he's in Falling Skies, and I think he is in Leverage Redemption. I saw a random clip pop up on my YouTube, which that's fun. I'm ready for that. And it seems like he's kind of playing a Flynn Carson-esque character, which will also be fun, only like more jittery. Like first Librarian movie, Flynn Carson, who is jittery about everything. I'm ready for that. I am ready for Flynn Carson in Leverage Universe. Like, I watched the clip because, it's a short. There's not going to be a whole lot of spoilers in it. And there wasn't, besides the fact that Noah Wylie is in it. And it legit felt like Flynn Carson was just in the Leverage Universe. I would not be opposed to a crossover. I really wouldn't. It'd be kind of fun. But anyway, yes, but acknowledging those characters, those actors, is very, like Christian Kane. I love acknowledging them because they do such a wonderful job, and then they're not in any big movies, and it's a little bit sad. It's a little bit sad. But it's also not sad because I would like to hoard them all for myself and have them in my do quality TV shows that are just random. Yeah, what else to talk about? There's just a lot going on. There's a level of ridiculous and corny and all of that goes with like Gadeen, the Devlin show, because Librarians has a kind of the same level of corniness, and there's some ridiculousness in there, and so it has that same level of that, and that's again similar vibe, which I so enjoy. But yeah, it's just a fun show to watch. And then there's also like some really good episodes. Like I think it was the second episode. They go into a whole thing and they're helping injured vets who were injured because they saw something that they weren't supposed to. That one was really good. It was my favorite episode for I think potentially all of the first season. And then they had two episodes where they meet up with a character who's telling their own backstory, their own history. And when we flash back, it's the team playing all of the different people in the story, and it's really fun. We have a D.B. Cooper one, so they have their own explanation for that, and then one during World War II, I believe, and it's a love story between this black guy and this white skating rink. This white guy owns a skating rink, and his daughter falls for a black guy, and their sweet love story. And we get to see all the flashbacks, but the team is the characters, and it's really fun. I really like how they do it. So those are very good. We have one filler episode where there's a heist that that the entire team apparently was at. They were all going after the same thing before they were a team, and none of them knew it. And so it's them going through the whole story and multiple different perspectives, and then Nate at the end going, I know exactly what happened. So it's like, but seeing this exact same heist from 5 different perspectives, and it is a fun episode. Accomplishes nothing in the overarching plot because there are overarching villains in all but the last season. There's an overarching plot thing happening in the 5th season, but it's more of a background thing, where in the first 4 seasons there's like this overarching recurring villain or antagonist or whatever that shows up. But yeah, so it accomplishes nothing in regard to the overarching villain, but it's just fun. Yeah, I have a lot to say. Also the finale was a good episode because we have so the whole thing is they're going out and Nate decides to go after the Black Book, which is just a file full of people who have screwed other people over. And then lost my train of thought. Yeah, I really lost my train of thought. Anyway, they're going after the Black Book, and things go horribly wrong. And we start out, it's like, hey, what was your mistake? How did your friends die? And he's being interviewed by this, we find out later, Interpol agent. And so we go through this entire situation, and he tells them what happened, and it shows how they die. And then we go through and we keep getting more information, and we start figuring out more of what really happened and seeing how it goes through. It's like nobody's dead, they're just playing like hide and seek and grifting all of these different roles. It was so fun. My husband described it as a long-running game of hide and seek. It was very fun. It was very fun. And then we end it with Sophie and Nate getting out of it and leaving the Black Book and like their legacy to the other 3. And the ending scene is them doing a little interview, taking over, which is a little cheesy. But overall. Yeah, I think those are pretty much all my thoughts on Leverage. I had a fun time watching it. It was fun. I enjoyed Dean Davron's style of show and his whole found family. It's really fun. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Leverage. Share yours in the comments. I post videos on this channel on what do you do? Why? Okay. Why?
Mondays and Fridays, Thursdays and Saturdays.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thursdays and Saturdays. Like and subscribe. Your chance, comment.
Shoot. Shoot. I can't sometimes. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Leverage. Feel free to continue the discussion in the comments. I post videos on this channel on Saturdays and on my audiobook channel on Thursdays. I'll see you all next time.